Hi friends, Michelle here with Halfway Homestead, and we are in the kitchen. So a classmate, Bible study classmate of mine has had some surgery, and so we are doing a meal train, and I'm going to take her some chicken and rice casserole and maybe a breakfast casserole. We'll see. But this is originally called poppy seed chicken. People around this area, I'm in mid-Missouri, make what they call poppy seed chicken. And a friend of mine who also makes poppy seed chicken made some changes with her recipe. And then she gave me that recipe, and I have made even more changes to make it my own. So the original recipe is the chicken and not really gravy, but saucy mixture is served over plain rice. And my friend Debbie, she made it with boxed rice-a-roni, and I love it that way. Well, then when I started making it, I started adding some cheese and pimentos, and then sometimes when I don't have rice-a-roni, like today, I just cooked rice in my Instant Pot. I toasted it first with butter and some seasonings. And so I'm using jasmine rice. I put in probably about 1/4 cup of butter, toasted up the rice. I threw in 2 teaspoons of my homemade seasoning salt and about a tablespoon of chicken base. And so basically that's powdered bouillon. I buy it here at the Mennonite store in bulk, and I like it much better than bouillon. I am going to use cream of chicken soup, which I'm not a big fan of store-bought creamed soups. I like to make my own, but there are 2 recipes I have found that you really need the store-bought soup to make it taste great, and that is this chicken and rice, and then a hash brown casserole that I make. Some people call them funeral potatoes. It's just better with the store-bought soup. Sometimes I add a little bit of sour cream or heavy cream depending on the sauciness of it. So I have already shredded my cheese, and I'll show you what I'm using. I buy this at Aldi's. This is a block of cheddar and Parmesan. It is delicious. You have the dry saltiness of the Parm, but then kind of that sharp tanginess of the cheddar, and it's a white cheddar, so this is really good. What else? Oh, I bought a rotisserie chicken to use. I was at Sam's yesterday, and I can buy a whole rotisserie chicken already cooked, already seasoned for $4.99, or I could go down the counter and buy a whole raw chicken for $6 something a pound, bring it home, have to season it and cooking it. And so, this takes a little bit extra effort, kind of, when it comes to deboning the chicken, but it's already flavored, it's already cooked, and they are delicious. So what I'm gonna do is, I don't think it's gonna fit in my pan. Okay, I was going to use my, ouch, that's hot, my, what is this? Instant Pot insert to mix it all, but I think I'm gonna need a bigger bowl. So I need to go get a bigger bowl, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. This bowl's probably way bigger than what I need, but I like to have lots of room for stirring. So let me move a few things around here. All right, this is my pile of rotisserie chicken, and I'm not gonna put it in yet. What I like to do first in my bowl is get my saucy part ready. And so I'm gonna add 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup because I'm taking this to a friend. Like I said, I'm part of the meal train, and I'm also going to make one for Scott and I to have for dinner. If I'm making one, I might as well make 2, but I'm actually gonna try to make 3 and put one in the freezer for later. So 2 cans of cream of chicken. You could use cream of mushroom if you wanted. I like the cream of chicken for this particular recipe. And I do prefer Campbell's. You could use whatever you want. Okay, so here in my bowl, I've got my cream of chicken soup all kind of stirred together. I'm gonna open up my pimentos. Okay. And I'm gonna, whoops, the lid doesn't need to go in there. Okay. I'm gonna dump in my pimentos. I'm not draining them or anything. I'm just putting them in. I'm gonna start with 1 jar of pimentos, and then when I get it mixed up, if I feel like it needs more, I'll add more. Okay, stir those in. I'm gonna put in my rice. Turn that around so you guys can see. I do love the Instant Pot for cooking rice. It, ouch. You just throw it all in, push the rice button, and it takes about 10-15 minutes because you have to have time for it to come up to pressure and then come down from pressure. All right, I'm gonna move you guys so you can see what I'm doing. Try to get you down there anyway. All right, now you can see. So I want to stir together my saucy part and my rice and peppers or pimentos. Pimentos are, I think they're little peppers. They may be little tomatoes, but I think they're peppers. Okay, now, before I do anything else, I'm going to taste this to make sure it has enough seasoning. Okay. In an effort to adjust the camera so you could see me take a bite, I ended up dropping the phone, which is my camera, into the bowl of rice and sauce. Okay, it's good, but it needs some salt and pepper. Okay. Now, I already know that the cheese is going to be salty and the rotisserie chicken is going to have quite a bit of salt. So I'm just going to do a good sprinkling of salt. A good sprinkling of pepper. And of course, I'm standing in front of a window, and so when I hold the pepper up too high, guess what? It goes everywhere. All right, I'm going to stir that in. Now I'm going to add my chicken. I'm going to try to adjust the camera again so you can see. All right. Put this chicken in. And if you'll notice, I've got some of the congealed like broth that's in the bottom of the chicken package. That's going to add lots of good flavor to our casserole. Perfect. All right, now I'm gonna get this all stirred up. I do think it needs a little bit more liquid. So I'm gonna add just a little bit of cream. Now you could do like, instead of chicken, you could use ham. You could add broccoli. Even with the chicken, you could add broccoli or maybe some chopped spinach, or let's see, kale. I think something green would be appropriate. Maybe some chopped asparagus. Okay, let's give it another taste. I'm not going to adjust the camera this time. Okay, I still think it needs more salt. But this time I'm going to go in with my chicken base. Okay, so this is what I buy at the local Mennonite store. It doesn't come in a jar. It's usually in a plastic tub. But this is what it looks like. Okay, so that was probably a tablespoon and a half. And I'm going to add a little bit, instead of cream this time, I'm going to do milk because I want it to be a little bit more loose. I thought that was my husband coming home. It kind of looked like his car, but it's not time for him yet. All right, let's get this stirred in. This is much better. A much better texture. Okay. All right, one more taste. Okay, what I'm going to do next is put this into my pans. And I'm going to use 2 of these little foil pans. One will go to my friend at church. The other will go into my freezer. And then I'm going to use just a small ceramic baking dish for mine and Scott's dinner. And then this gets a delicious topping. All right, I'm gonna put 2 big scoops in each one. And then I will see how much is left. That wasn't a very big scoop. Let me get another one. Okay. All right, let's get another scoop in each one of these. My mom makes this a lot for her branch homemakers luncheons. It seems to be pretty popular with those ladies. I think she's made it for her church one time too. Almost got it all out. Okay, and I'm glad I just went with one of the jars of pimentos. I think one was plenty. Okay, so now I'm just going to kind of press this in here, okay? And then I will top it with some of this cheese. This Parmesan cheddar. I don't want a huge thick layer of cheese, but I do want it nicely covered. Okay. Now, on top of these gets, it was kind of sloppy right there, they get a buttered cracker crust. All right, in here I've got a 1/2 cup or 1 stick of butter. I've got 3 of these little snack packs of Ritz crackers, and I'm just going to crush them and put them into the butter. Now, if I was using like a big package of Ritz, I'd probably use like 1 sleeve. But right now what I have are these little snack packs. So I'm figuring just 1 snack pack per little casserole. And I'm okay if there's some bigger chunks in there. Okay, now, I told you this is originally called poppy seed chicken. I don't really care for poppy seeds. I think that, well, good grief, I'm throwing crackers everywhere. I don't think they add anything to the casserole except for crunch. And they get stuck in your teeth. So I'm just not a fan. I'd rather get the crunch from the cracker topping rather than the poppy seeds. So If you want to add poppy seeds to yours, when I'm mixing up that saucy part, that's where I would add in the poppy seeds. And I would do probably a tablespoon or two. Okay, I'm going to divide this up amongst the 3 pans. Just put a little pile on top for now. Make sure I get all of it. Okay, now I'm just going to spread this out. A nice thin layer. Now, when I take this to my friend, I'm not going to already have it baked. That way, if she's not ready for her and her husband to have this for dinner, she doesn't have to. She could stick this in the refrigerator and have it on another day. I do know that she's got food coming from the meal train on a few different days. So it would be okay for this to sit in the fridge. Now, I am going to use these little cardboard toppers that came with the foil pans, and I'm going to write the directions on here with a Sharpie. And I'm going to put on here, thaw if frozen, okay? Bake, remove cover, bake at 400 degrees until golden and bubbly, heated through. And that's it. You pretty much have everything you need here except for your vegetable, which you could even put in a vegetable. And we're gonna call it good. And so let me think, do I have everything I need for the breakfast casserole? No, I don't. I need to shred up some more cheese. And I'm gonna use some O'Brien style hash browns. Those are little cubed up potatoes, but they have peppers and onions already in there. That's something else you could add to this, is some onions. My husband doesn't really care for that, so I did not put any in there. But I think I want to cook the hash browns first before I put them into the egg mixture, which is just going to be eggs, cheese, milk, some melted butter, and I did buy some already cooked like bacon bits to use, and then some seasonings, and that's going to be it. So let me get my cheese shredded up and my potatoes cooking, and I'll bring you back when I'm ready to mix that up. None of this is going to be cooked yet. I'm going to cook it in time for Scott and I to have dinner, and I'll cook the eggs at that same time, but I want to go ahead and get them mixed up. And then I will show you a picture or a little video clip of what they look like when they're done. So I'll be back with you in just a second. Okay, time to mix up the scrambled egg casserole. I've got my potatoes cooked. Let me bring you down here to show you. Okay, and basically all I did was I threw them in the skillet with a little bit of oil. They were still frozen, so they thawed quickly and got a little bit of color on them. I want them going into the casserole uncooked, because both of these casseroles I'm taking, everything is going to be fully cooked. All they have to do is reheat it, okay? So in my measuring cup here, let me bring you down further. I'm going to be cracking 6 eggs. This is the same measuring cup I used to melt the butter a while ago and mix up the crackers. I didn't even wash it out. It's all fine. I did melt another about 3 tablespoons of butter, and I have poured it into my little baking dish. Let's see. Now these are farm fresh eggs, so I am going to break them one at a time in a separate bowl to check them. I do have a rooster. We occasionally get an egg that probably could be eaten, but doesn't really look like it could be eaten. So I'm a little picky, especially if I'm taking it to somebody else. Okay, so there's a little, I don't know, piece of dirt in there. Sometimes, I don't know how dirt gets in the eggs, but it does. Okay, no problem. it's got a little bit too. Now, one of the easiest ways to get eggshell out, like you break the shell, is to use the shell, because it kind of attracts the eggshell, the broken pieces, and takes it right out. So that's 4 eggs. I'm going to do 6 eggs to start with, and then we'll see if I need to add any more. Almost forgot to dump that one first. Okay, so there's 6 eggs. Throw these up. All right, I'm gonna rinse my hands and then I'll be back. Okay, in with these 6 eggs, I am going to do probably about, I don't know, maybe about 1/4 a teaspoon. I don't know, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And about the same of pepper. This one I will not be tasting to see if it is seasoned correctly. So I get 1 shot to season this. Okay, I'm gonna grab a little bit of milk. Put in probably about, I don't know, maybe 3 tablespoons or maybe 1/4 of a cup. Okay, I'm going to dump in 1 bag of real bacon bits. Just get that mixed in. I'm going to put in my potatoes. Now I did let my potatoes cool quite a bit because I didn't want the potatoes cooking my eggs before I was ready for them to be cooked. Get all these little crispy bits up off of the skillet. That'll be yummy. Okay. All right, I'm just going to mix this up. Ooh, I know what would be good. Ooh, creaky. Let's see. Let's do some dried chives. Probably, let's do a teaspoon of chives. Fresh would be great. I don't have fresh. After, I don't even know, probably 20 years, my chives died. I've only been at this house for 6 years, but I brought my chives with me when we moved, and they did not make it. Okay, I'm going to pour this into my little baking dish. It does not get the cheese yet. Okay, now this, okay, is going to go into a 400-degree oven. Cook it for about 10 minutes. I'm going to pull it out and stir it. Cook it for another 10 minutes. Then I will top it with cheese. Okay. After I have put it back in and let the cheese get all bubbly, it'll be done and ready to serve. So I have my little top ready to put on. It says Scrambled Egg Casserole. Step 1, thaw if frozen. Step 2, uncover. Step 3, bake at 400 until heated through. And then I put my name at the bottom in case she has any questions. So like I said before, this went so quick mixing it up, getting it ready for the oven. I will show you more when it's finished. Friends, look at that. Looks delicious. Okay, at this point I do want to kind of poke it with a spoon, make sure it's cooked all the way in. Yes, it is. Okay, I'm gonna sprinkle some cheese. Get you guys a little closer. Okay, and this is just regular sharp cheddar Nothing special. Spread it around a little bit. I did put this on a baking sheet. I wasn't worried about it cooking over. It just, these little pans aren't very sturdy. And so putting it on a baking sheet just helped with stability. All right, I'm gonna stick this back in the oven for about another, I don't know, maybe even just 5 minutes. I just want the cheeses to get, ooh, sliding around. I want them to get bubbly and maybe brown a little bit. All right, friends, look at that. Delicious, or at least it smells delicious. It's usually delicious when I make it. So, all right, shut that off. Okay, so my cooking for today is done. Dinner's ready. All I have to do is reheat it. And my friend's casseroles are finished and we're ready to go. I'll deliver tomorrow. I will pop in a picture of the chicken and rice casserole once it's reheated tonight so you can see the finished product. And I'll see you next time I'm in the kitchen or the garden. I wanted to be in the garden today, but it has rained for 2 days. So maybe tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Bye, guys.